Alright, and we are live. How are we all? Welcome to another Bitcoin, crypto, finance, whatever, live stream. How are we all doing? I guess let me know if everything's good. We had some very small technical issues last time. Hopefully we don't have that again this time. It looks okay on my side. Yeah, just let me know if audio and video is good. We have a very fun live stream today because Bitcoin has fallen down below $60,000. So, as we always do me a favor, ladies and gents, and smash those likes up if you are excited for this live stream. Do me a favor and help push that algorithm to put in a little bit more work than it has been doing recently. I want to give a very, very special shout out to two people in the chat. Number one, Mitch Stew's sister. I've pinned his comment because he says that it is his sister's birthday and he hasn't been able to look away from the charts to go have dinner with them. That, ladies and gents, is a man who has his priorities straight. Because we know, as Bitcoin traders, that there is nothing more important than Bitcoin. Certainly not family. And certainly not birthdays. So I'm with you out there, Mitch Stew. Shout out to you. Hopefully you can get a chance to go over to them right after this live stream. And if you have to leave during the stream, no hard feelings. I won't take it personally. Yeah, we got what is this? Willy Bot smashing up the likes for my hair. Yeah, sorry about the hair. But it is what it is. You guys come from for the analysis more than you come for my hairstyles, so at least I'm good over there. Let me know how we're doing in the live chat today, ladies and gents, before we kick this thing off. And as you are coming up, do me a favor, and smash those likes up. We've got a Bitcoin at a $58,000 Bitcoin right now, which is fantastically interesting. There is so much we're going to be saying about this in this live stream. I want to talk to you about where I think Bitcoin can go, whether I think we're going to be dipping lower toward the 52K mark, or if I think that we can recover back up and hit resistance. For now, though, ladies and gents, let me know how we're feeling in the live chat. Are we feeling bullish? Are we feeling bearish? I want to know. Type in bullish if you're bullish, bearish if you're bearish. Tell me how you're doing. Shout out to Lewis in the chat from Miami. We got Paul on the way to Kuala Lumpur. Does that mean you're on a plane? If you're on a plane, that's very, very cool. Samster, the Bitcoin gangster in the house. There we go. Thank you very much, Dave. Anthony says he's expecting a bigger dump, and he has, and it's more accumulation for his tortoise ass. Not fully sure what that means, but there we go. Christopher related to Mitch. Yep, totally understandable. Daniel from the Maldives. What's up, man? What are you doing in the Maldives? You live there, or what's the deal, man? Vacation. Got Rocky from Qatar. What's up, Qatar? South Africa. All right, we got a lot of people feeling bullish right now. A lot of people saying that they're bullish. Pasta says he'll sell his house to buy at 16K. Very, very smart. Yeah, we got Paul saying he's bullish as well. Oh, Paul's in Amsterdam, just about to depart. Have a safe flight, mate. This only sucks if you don't have more money to deploy. Gains are coming. Well, I don't really have more money to deploy, and I don't think this sucks. And the reason I don't think this sucks is because this is kind of where trading opportunities start to open up, right? So it can't scare me. I'm kind of just relieved that we're getting something. I'm relieved that we're getting something right now, rather than nothing for a long time. Because even if it means that we start dropping down, this is still where a lot of trading opportunities are probably going to be opening up, so I'm definitely quite excited. Lars is saying that we just filled the CME gap, which is super bullish. That's super, super cool. Good stuff, guys. So thanks for smashing up those likes. If you haven't done so already, please do me a favor and smash them up. just to push him over. Where are we now? To push him over 100 likes. My God, we're only down at 56. We got to push this up a little bit higher. We need at least 100 likes. That's just silly. So smash it up if you are hyped up for this one. And let's talk about this market now, because this is very, very interesting. We've seen Bitcoin break down again from $60,000. We got a little bit of support here, but again, it's that very typical body language of the market that you can really start to identify quite quickly when you watch a channel like this for a while. So shout out to those of you that are subscribed and kind of tuning in to get this content. We did have a very, very nice kind of bounce off this level here. Again, what I want to be covering with you is if I think Bitcoin will be dropping significantly lower from here or skyrocketing above $70,000. And again, the first thing to take note of is the fact that Bitcoin bounced off this level originally and then mustered a much weaker bounce on the second attempt, okay? And this is your very, very clear early warning sign that you're going to break support, okay? If you fall down to support and then you very quickly return to it, but then the next time you return to it, you're not even bouncing, right? Previous time we bounced, second time we just went sideways. That's a really clear sign that you're about to dip down. So that's worth noting because you can actually spot this, in other situations, right? I mean, here's another situation where, we got a support level here, we fall down to it, but on this occasion, we don't really muster a particularly big bounce. So that's your sign that things might drop. You see it all the time. So now in terms of where this thing can go, obviously we've dropped below the $60,000 price area now, which puts Bitcoin in a tricky place. This is a price range which is now a little bit hated, a little bit exhausted as well. And I think that because of that, the chance that we end up falling down toward those low 50,000s are very, very high at this stage. This is just based off like pure normal technical analysis. In terms of what I think the market will actually do, I have no fucking idea. This is a really weird market. It's very, very confusing. And we'll get to that in just a second because I'll demystify that as much as I can based on what I know. But from what I'm seeing right here, specifically from the perspective of just, pure normal technical analysis, we have to come down to 52 now. We do have a little bit of support, a little bit lower at about 56.5. We've kind of found a bit of support here recently. We had a bit of support here at the very beginning of May. And then we found support here very recently in July, right? So this kind of mid 56K range could definitely be a zone of support. And, we're kind of waiting to see if Bitcoin will come down there. I'm not going to be super optimistic about any of these levels. I just don't think that they're so important. So I'm going to have to expect that this thing does end up dropping lower. There are still some really interesting charts like this one right here, which we've been looking at, which I still think is in play. It hasn't worked out amazingly well. We've kind of just gotten another fake out, unfortunately. But, these are really, really good, kind of patterns to be looking at right now, I think, because of the midpoint as well. I mean, if we go ahead and just connect these lower points here, the market is sitting pretty much at the midpoint of this descending parallel channel right now, which, is a very, very bullish thing. I was actually talking about this happening earlier on. Those of you that were subscribed to the YouTube channel are going to remember that I was saying when Bitcoin kind of bounced up from here, it would be interesting to see a rejection here and a return to the midpoint and then continue higher. This is the only bullish thing I can tell you on this chart right now. And we'll talk about it for a little bit and then we'll start talking about things that are bearish. But as far as bullish things go, and smash up the likes if you are appreciating this live stream so far, as far as bullish things go, I think this is Bitcoin's pretty much like only hope or like best hope that it has right now, because returning down to the midpoint is actually pretty good. We did it over here, right? Bitcoin got up to the top of the channel up here. But then, it did this weird stuff. On this occasion here, it bounced off the midpoint and then it targeted resistance again. We've consistently been finding bounces and resistance off this midpoint. So I have good reason to expect that this midpoint will be useful again now. We've already stopped dumping at it. So I think that as long as we hold this level, there's still a good argument to be made that Bitcoin gets back up to the top of this range. But now the next problem is that the top of this range is probably going to start looking a little bit more like kind of 64,000. And there is already a big block of resistance up there. So I think that there is definitely some danger up in this zone if Bitcoin ends up climbing back there. Now, in order to get back there, we also have to overcome some pretty annoying resistance up ahead, just on this particular chart. as well. We've got 60k as just kind of horizontal resistance, which we'd be expecting. We've also, of course, got our share of 4-hour Ichimoku cloud starting to develop now. On the hourly, it's happened a lot faster, which means that if we rise up to this level now, we're very quickly going to be encountering resistance up at the $60,000 price area with this 1-hour Ichimoku cloud. As far as momentum goes, it's even tighter, but it's still kind of in the same range right now. So if Bitcoin does produce a quick bounce up, there's a lot of potential for that rejection to come in over here. On the 4-hour time frame, it's the same thing. It's just a little bit further ahead. But, you know, plenty resistance up ahead for Bitcoin to capture if it does start rallying higher. And I think that's very important to be paying attention to at this stage in this market now, because it is getting dangerous if Bitcoin starts to rise up. On the flip side, if it starts to drop down, there's nothing really that should stop it as far as I can see. Like I said, there's this little zone of support right here that I'm not super concerned about. And then there is a much bigger support level at about 52. So, you know, this makes some really interesting potential trading setups that I'm going to be interested in. You know, the first one that I'm seeing is potentially just kind of going short off these levels here, right? You're going to start to be able to build up confluence at these particular price areas. Perhaps not quite yet, but I think it will happen relatively soon. I certainly don't think it's particularly far away, put it that way. And so, you know, based off that, I think that, yeah, a little bit of resistance to be expected up there. Like I said, it could be the hourly cloud, it could be the, you know, EMA, you know, but I think it's going to be, you know, somewhat difficult for Bitcoin to get up there. Not necessarily a short that I would take, but it's still a trade that I can see happening. I do want to highlight to you guys that Blowfin has just launched another super cool offer. If we actually go ahead and follow the link to Blowfin in the description, which is right here, you will see, I think, on this page already, oh, it hasn't actually updated here, but if you sign up anyway using this, you will see it anyway, that Blowfin has got some really cool offers for you guys to be taking advantage of, and they are a no KYC platform, so they're not going to ask you to submit a picture of yourself or your passport in order to use the platform. And when you do start trading using my link below, you're going to get thousands of dollars that you can trade with for free. So that is super cool. Definitely check it out if you are interested, and as usual, be mindful of your country's local regulations. This is a pretty sound exchange. The thing about no KYC platforms these days is they're all like, a lot of them are white labeled, and you know, they're just not necessarily places that you want to trade on. Blowfin, not white labeled, they've done it themselves. They seem to be one of the better ones, so they're worth checking out. They're not the best. You know, I do think Bybit's the best, but you know, it's still a good one. Again, always check your country's local laws before you do any of this stuff. Apex is also interesting because, you know, again, no KYC because it's decentralized. So if you like the idea of a decentralized exchange, that's worth checking out too. But I'll leave you with those links down below, that like button. Thank you all for tuning into the live stream, those of you that have done so. If you have been enjoying it so far, do me a favor and smash them up. Make sure, of course, that you are also subscribed to the YouTube channel so that you don't miss out on this very time-sensitive content when it comes out. Yeah, we are just at 134,300 subscribers now, so it'd be cool to see where we can take this during this stream. And as we are going on, feel free to continue to drop your questions and just thoughts in the live chat below. I'm just continuing to read through this a little bit now, but let me talk to you a little bit more about where I think Bitcoin can go. Shout out to King Cosmic saying thanks for the calmness. You're very welcome. That is exactly what I aim to bring with you guys. I'm always calm about these markets, right? I mean, I've been doing this for over 7 years. It does get easy to be calm about it. You know, it's not just me being cool. I mean, it is just literally something which, you know, gets easier to deal with time, and so that's something which I'm pretty happy about. I got a question. What's my take on Brett? My understanding is that Brett is a meme coin. I don't really care about meme coins, so discussion ends there. 52k, that's the next kind of significant support that I see. Like I said, I don't really see anything stopping Bitcoin from getting there now. I did mention to you guys that the market just doesn't make sense right now, and I think that is, still somewhat true, right? So I mean, Bitcoin could definitely end up kind of capturing support, and I think, the thing that's worth taking into account now is that, yeah, we were expecting 60K to be support, and we were, we know that it's a force in the market, but it's definitely gotten weaker and weaker with time. You can see like really nice big bounces coming off this particular price level, relatively consistently earlier on. But then we started to get these fake outs, and the fake out got a little bit bigger, and now we're down here again, right? So I think that the 60K level isn't being responded to in the same way anymore, and I think that could definitely mean that we're going to be able to start, kind of drawing new support levels, perhaps down here, if Bitcoin does manage to muster a bounce. So we'll have to see what happens. Bitcoin's kind of already doing it right now during this live stream, so we're going to probably continue to see this mature a little bit while I'm live with you guys. I can't stay on for too long in this particular one, but I'll stay on for as long as I can. And, I think that based off this, I mean, there's a very, very good chance that Bitcoin can keep rising up. And if it does, then again, the discussion does start to change to, well, okay, are we going to be encountering resistance at $60,000 if we get there? We are right now, by the way, ladies and gents, sitting at 120 likes. If we can push this up toward 200, that would be sick. The more you guys smash them up, the more YouTube pushes these live streams out to subscribers. The algorithm has been punishing me a lot lately. Don't know why. I'm trying to fix it. But every time you guys smash them up, it does help a lot. So thank you all very much for that support. It does help a lot to push these streams out a little bit more. Let's talk about Bitcoin's dominance before we go back to the price. I think I want to put price down just for a second. Bitcoin's dominance has set a new high today. So no surprises. Those of you that have been watching this channel for a while are going to know that I've been expecting this for some time. I've been expecting Bitcoin's dominance to continue to rise up. That's what it's been doing. I've been saying this since Bitcoin was all the way down here with its dominance. Okay, so this is the low 40s. I've been saying this. Now it's continuing to break out again. It's a strong candle here on the daily. I think that Bitcoin's dominance can pretty easily rise up to the 60% zone. I think that we're well on our way there, and we're continuing our path toward that area for Bitcoin's dominance. So this is going to be something I'll continue to watch. Altcoins have been getting absolutely destroyed. I've been vocal about not being bullish on Ethereum for a long time. All while this pump was happening, I did start to say, look, things are going well for Ethereum. There is a chance that it can kind of break up and continue to go. But I always reminded you guys that ultimately I'm still pretty grounded and happy with my perspective that I'm expecting Ethereum to do the same fucking thing it's done every single time before, which is that, it'll produce bounces and it'll look really good, and then it'll just kind of keep tumbling lower and lower and lower. That's been what what Ethereum has been doing for, I think, like over 2 years now, basically, or like about 2 years, yeah. So, I mean, I don't see any reason to expect that to change right now. And I think that, prophecy I was giving you guys has continued to prove itself to be correct. Ethereum continues to slide lower. It's now sitting at 0.46 BTC per token. The low that it set in May was 0.44, 0.45. So we're very, very close to those lows right now. The whole time, even before all of this happened, I was telling you that I'm expecting 3 particular price zones for Ethereum against Bitcoin. The first one is this box, which represents about 0.42 Ethereum per token. Bitcoin per token. The next is this line, which represents 0.39 BTC per token. And the final one is 0.31 BTC per token. These are 3 particular price levels that I'm very interested in buying Ethereum at. These are proven price levels across a lot of time. That these are very, very important. Take a look at this right here. If we look at where this box is, it is a very nice kind of interesting zone for Ethereum. We've seen some interesting resistance and some support starting to form here, and a lot of resistance forming afterwards, basically from 2018 onwards. We saw a lot of resistance very consistently, at this particular price zone. And I just want to remind you guys that the reason I am particularly interested in Ethereum of all things, and especially this chart, Ethereum against Bitcoin, is because it represents the rest of the altcoin market. It's obviously a little bit stronger than the rest of the altcoin market, but it does represent the rest of it. And it also represents, for me, the easiest way to make money in the altcoin market, right? I mean, the altcoin market starts with Ethereum. And Ethereum is, to me, inherently much more risky than Bitcoin because it's smaller, but that makes altcoins even more risky, right? And these risks are fine, and they're actually very happy for you to entertain while things are going well. But when dumps like this start to happen, and, the coin that you're actually, quite used to holding and that you've been in for quite some time is now down really, really bad. I mean, for example, look at Polkadot right here, down by 7%. Just in today, and I mean, very, very low price levels, right? I mean, I'm just gonna put my microphone down. Let me know if you guys can still hear me fine. But just from this all-time high down to the current price level, it's down by 91%, which, in and of itself is just, I mean, I don't need to say more about that. But, just from the price action that we saw earlier this year, this was March, down to the current price, you're still down by 60%. I mean, down from these highs that were literally just about 2 weeks ago, it's down by 30%, right? So what you're starting to see now is that, if you've had kind of these altcoins which you've been happy in for a long time, that's going to work when things are bullish, but, generally the same kind of line of thinking which makes you buy these altcoins and love them is the same line of thinking that leads you to sit in these losses that you're in right now. And a lot of people just don't realize that, but obviously I realize it because I've made all of these mistakes and I've been doing this for over 7 years. And DOT's just one example of it, but this is pretty universal. I mean, you're seeing this pretty much across the board. Here's Pepe, for example, where, again, I mean, what was this? Literally like 10 days ago, it's down by 37% now. I mean, it's just an absolutely atrocious setup for altcoins on this chart, and I understand that, which is why I start with Ethereum. And so Ethereum to me is kind of the least risky of them. And the other kind of key thing that I understand is that I'm not here to marry a coin or an altcoin or to, get into an intimate relationship with Ethereum and wear a fucking Ethereum t-shirt like an absolutely cringed loser or anything like that. I'm not here to do stuff like that. I just want to make more Bitcoin, okay? And if I want to make more Bitcoin, that means I need to make smart plays, either by, trading on platforms like Blofin, which, like I said, is a no KYC platform where you get thousands of dollars to trade with when you start trading using my link down below. Again, always be mindful of your country's local regulations. Definitely make sure to read this disclaimer in the description. It's either going to be through trading on platforms like Blofin for me, or it's going to be by buying an altcoin and holding it and letting it make me Bitcoin. And that's, a lot of people try and do that, but they don't do it very well. I'll tell you how I do it and why I think it works out very well, and it has worked out very well for me. I pick my shots very, very carefully, and so for me, it's just about identifying that, look, I reasonably don't think that Ethereum can really drop below this level, at basically 0.42 BTC per token. It was a very strong resistance zone for Ethereum from, August 2018 all the way up until April 21, right? So that's like, nearly 3 years, that this was a very strong resistance level. I'm willing to tolerate a drop all the way down to this particular price level, which is 0.39 BTC per token, but I don't really think it can go lower than that. And Ethereum is also a very strong asset just in terms of being number one in the market. So I think that, keeping these factors in mind, it's hard for me to expect that Ethereum can lose this level against Bitcoin, but it's easy for me to expect that Ethereum can get down there. Because if the wider market is crashing, and by the way, we haven't even spoken about this yet. We'll get to it in just a minute about the kind of overall state of this market, including traditional finance. We're going to get there in just a minute. And if you're excited for it, do me a favor and smash those likes up. We're so close to 200 likes. So let's smash through 200, get this thing up to 250, 300 likes. My main target is always 500 likes. For me, I don't feel satisfied with a live stream unless I got 500 likes. It's always kind of like just slightly out of reach unless it's a very, very good day and then we hit it easily. But I want to push it as much as you guys are willing to. Every time you guys pump those likes up, another like 100 or so viewers come in, which just proves how rigged this fucking system is with YouTube. But those of you that do kind of engage with the live chat and with the likes, that does help a lot. And on that note, do let me know if you're just tuning in how you feel, whether you're bullish or bearish about this market on the whole. I'd be very curious to kind of get a scope of that in the live chat right now. But like I said, these are some interesting levels for me to be buying Ethereum. And, you know, just to take a look at this particular price level, for example, if I manage to buy Ethereum down here and it gets back up to these highs of 2021, 2022, I'm already making, like, if it gets close to these highs, I'm already making basically double my money. So I get to put a bit of Bitcoin in over here, and I get to double it if it gets back up to those highs. And I really do think it can get back up to those highs. And now I've doubled my Bitcoin, right? So if I've got one Bitcoin at, whatever, $60,000, but then I have two Bitcoins later on, and by that point, Bitcoin's probably going to be worth more. So let's call it, you know, $90,000 worth, you know, per Bitcoin. I'm now sitting on 180K, but I started with 60. It's absolutely crazy how quickly you can make money. There was a trader that I worked with in my VIP group, and by the way, those of you that are interested, you can get access to a very exclusive offer that I'm running with this link in the well, this is not a link, but with this in the description below. You can just contact me directly with this link to get it. It's a very expensive, very serious kind of investment in yourself, but if you're serious and you're curious, then you can reach out to me and I'll send you the information about it. I worked with somebody in a very similar offer to this a while back, and he turned $30,000 into $1 million in 10 months. And the way he did it was by trading Bitcoin very, very well. He learned from my course and everything that I have to offer, and he was very, very diligent with it. The guy was super, super good. He was very, very good at it. So he made money trading Bitcoin, but then Bitcoin made money for him because Bitcoin gained value. And this is what I'm saying with the Ethereum thing, right? Like, if Bitcoin is worth 60K now, but I buy Ethereum with it, and then it doubles against Bitcoin, if Ethereum doubles against Bitcoin, then, you know, by the point Ethereum doubles against Bitcoin, Bitcoin itself is probably worth a lot more, but I also own double the amount of Bitcoins now. So you get paid very, very well, you know, with these kind of strategies. It's just that, you know, your entry's got to be good, right? Like, you can't be buying a coin because everybody on Twitter is talking about it, you know, and you're in a fucking Discord group or whatever, and it's just all the fucking craze right now. Like, this kind of hype train bullshit, you know, this is not how you actually make money. The way you actually make money is everybody's depressed, everybody's really, really upset, prices hit a really nice support level, and you're like, oh, this is a nice support level, everybody's upset, maybe there's something for me to do here, maybe I can make some money. So you kind of buy that support level, and then, you know, the market rewards you with a really nice profit. That's how it's worked in my experience. That doesn't mean it has to be that way for you, but that is how it's worked in my experience, and that's what I'm talking about here. So I think that's pretty cool. And I think that's still what I'm interested in. And it also, you know, it lines up with what a lot of people who disagree with me believe, right? A lot of people who disagree with me, I don't know how you can disagree with me at this point. It's so fucking, first of all, it's rooted in logic and fact and data. So, you know, that's a really good starting point. But second of all, it's right in front of you. Like, it's been happening the way I've been saying for a really long time. But still, you get people that disagree with me. And the people that disagree with me think that Bitcoin's dominance is going to be falling, and they're actually agreeing with me in a roundabout way, because I think the same thing as well. I just think that first it's going to rise a little bit higher before it starts dropping, okay? And this is very, very obvious because you can see a lot of support and resistance coming in at this 60% zone for Bitcoin's dominance. Now, we can't do normal technical analysis like we usually do on the Bitcoin dominance chart, right? That obviously doesn't work in the same way, but you know, generally speaking, I think that, you know, it's worth looking at. It clearly works at least a little bit. You know, and so I do think that Bitcoin's dominance can climb all the way up to 60%. And if it does happen, you know, I think that's where I might expect that a lot of these coins actually start to recover against Bitcoin. Right? And so that could literally just mean a $52,000 Bitcoin bottom, or a $48,000 Bitcoin bottom, or whatever it might be. And we'll come to that as well in just a second. Thank you for being very patient and for smashing those likes, because we have just flown through 200 likes on this live stream. Thank you all very, very much. for smashing them up, and of course for subscribing to those of you that have, because again, this is very, very time sensitive content. We definitely want to make sure that we don't miss it. But yeah, Bitcoin dominance, I think it works out really, really well. I think it lines up with what a lot of people believe, you know, and I think that Ethereum is just continuing to kind of fall into the plan that I expected. Obviously, it's happening on a very different time frame. I thought it would happen faster, but, you know, I mean, you can't complain about these things, right? I'm not going to be too upset about them. So I want to come back to Bitcoin now. I want to come back to the price of Bitcoin to traditional finance as well. Let's just take a quick look at this chart here on the minute time frame. I was saying that maybe we'd see Bitcoin continue to trade higher and recover from this low that it set at $57,000. It was at 57.1 that Bitcoin bottomed out. And we have seen Bitcoin continue to rise. We're now at 58.9. So we'll see how this goes. There's not a whole lot of resistance right now, and I think that's why we're seeing such a quick correction for Bitcoin with a really obvious V-shaped correction. If there ever is a correction that you want to see, if there ever is a correction which indicates that the price will recover, it is this. We are forming the right kind of correction right now. Of course, I would love to see it happen a little bit faster, but, you know, I can't complain. It's happening right in front of us, so we'll just continue to watch this and see how it goes in this live stream. Let me know how you're feeling in the live chat. I'm just reading through a couple of messages, and I think we've got a lot of people in the live chat still saying that they're feeling relatively bullish here. We got Midwest Picker saying that the bottom may not be in, but it's close in this person's opinion. From Macedonia, North Macedonia, I think we will go lower. What else have we got here? Sammy's becoming more commercial. Such a shame. I'm not sure what you mean there, but I think I'm pretty consistent. Who's disagreeing with me? The views on your channel is not that high. It's high enough to get a lot of people disagreeing with me. Thousands of people watching every video, I think, is quite high. Imagine if they run it back up again and liquidate all the shorts up to 70k. Well, you know, that's the thing, right? Like, could this be a short squeeze? And I think if it is a short squeeze, then you know, you're probably looking at a very, very nasty correction upwards coming in, where all of the shorts that have kind of come in over here just get absolutely destroyed. It would make sense, other than the fact that, you know, and I'd have to check this data, you know, for more recent data, but it would make sense other than the fact that we've actually been seeing consistently more longs than shorts. So, unfortunately, this is actually more of a long squeeze than it is a short squeeze. I mean, this is the long and short ratio for retail on Binance, and, you know, just, you know, for today, it's 70% long. You know, so actually, if anything is getting squeezed, it's the longs. And, more accurately, longs haven't been squeezed yet. You know, I mean, look at this on the hourly, for example. It's across the board. It's way more bullish. So we're not actually seeing these longs get squeezed yet, you know, despite all of that. I mean, let's take a look at this on Coinalyze so we can see Bitcoin's open interest, if open interest has been dropping. And yes, it has. Bitcoin's open interest has been dropping. I don't know if you can see this chart, because sometimes this chart is a little bit covered up by my webcam and stuff like that, but no, I mean, it looks like, yeah, I mean, it looks like some longs have been closing, but clearly not enough, because we're still maintaining a very, very strong you know, leaning on the long side. So I think that's important to keep in mind. Could we still get a short squeeze? Yes, absolutely, but the data right now to me isn't really representing that at the moment, so I'm not going to be expecting it from at least from a data perspective. Yeah, I think that's important. Let's take a look at this on a more zoomed out perspective. This is something that we haven't actually done yet. And like I said, traditional finance is still one of the most important things I want to discuss with you on this stream. So we'll get to that in just a second as well. Thank you all very much, by the way, for smashing those likes up. We're now sitting at 250, which is amazing. So we're halfway there to the real target. If you have been extracting a bit of value from this stream, and if you just appreciate what you're getting, then do me a favor and smash them up. But of course, no problem whatsoever. Take a look at this Bitcoin Fibonacci retracement here. We've got heavy resistance here from the Fibonacci golden pocket, which I think is going to be worth looking at. This actually makes me a lot more interested in a potential short position, because that Fibonacci golden pocket lines up right here. By the way, this is all happening on the weekly candle, isn't it? So look at this weekly candle here. This is a very, very nasty weekly candle, isn't it? If we take a look at this, I mean, it has fallen down into this range that we were just talking about, but yeah, I mean, you know, in one weekly candle we've engulfed the previous 2 weeks, and we've had a real chance to start breaking out, and we didn't take it. So, you know, I mean, if you're bearish, you've got really, really good reason to kind of hold on to that right now. I do think that one other perspective which is worth entertaining, it's kind of the same as this chart that I showed you guys, is that this is still a pretty, you know, okay chart to me. You know, like, to me, what I see here is a fucking insane rally. I mean, an absolutely insane rally, followed by a very sizable... Is it very sizable? I don't know, but followed by a sizable, you know, correction. That's what it is. You know, I mean, lower highs, lower lows, maintaining the same general market structure. You know, it looks like a correction to me. I still believe that to be the case. I've said that for a while. I've said it for a very, very long time. And I still believe that to be the case. Sammy, I thought crypto was supposed to be against recessions and inflation. Yeah, well, I've been saying for years that I believe that narrative went out of the window with this crash right here. I've been saying it for a very, very long time on this YouTube channel publicly, despite getting tons and tons and tons of backlash for it. That narrative died on the COVID crash because I don't think there was any better test for Bitcoin as a hedge against the system than a global pandemic fraught with political mayhem. You know, there's nothing else that could have put Bitcoin in a stronger position from a philosophical standpoint, in my opinion. Yet Bitcoin completely failed, and it actually performed worse than stock markets and so on. So I think that narrative went out of the window over 4 years ago, and unfortunately, we're continuing to see that happen here. We'll move on to that in just a second, like I said, because that's actually one of the most important parts of this live stream that we're going to be getting to. But I do think that's really important to just start kind of grounding this conversation with. By the way, we've just smashed through 134,300 subscribers, so thank you all very much to those of you that have subscribed to this, the most grounded, realistic channel for technical analysis right here. I do appreciate all of the support. Like I said, very, very nice, you know, overall look to this chart as far as I'm concerned. I mean, you know, you take a look at this on the weekly, and it just looks so reasonable and sensible. I'm trying to detach you and me from, you know, this, you know, kind of very short-term price move, and just look at it for what it is, right? Like, it could still drop down. It could still drop down all the way to zero. Who knows? I certainly don't fucking know, all right? I'm not the kind of guy that picks market tops and bottoms very well, okay? I don't pick market tops and bottoms very well. I did do it last time. I sold my Bitcoin up at 57k around over here. And when we were down here, I was calling for 30 and 40k at least. So, you know, it did work out well to some extent, but I'm not the best at it. And I'm certainly going to mess it up in the future. It's just not what I'm strong at. But... and this is a very big but this chart pattern that I see right now just looks like corrective behavior to me. And that's because of how explosive this rally was. So I'm still okay with it from this particular... but like I said, it would have to get very bad for me to actually start worrying. That is ultimately how I feel. That is the bottom line of how I feel about this. It would have to get very bad for me to start really worrying about what Bitcoin might end up doing from here. And that's because of the market structure that we've been able to establish here. Shout out to Ace saying, guys, smash the like button. Let's get the algorithm going. Thank you very much, Ace. I do appreciate all your support. I'm going to go ahead and pin that comment there. Hopefully Mitch Stew can end up going to his girlfriend's birthday dinner. I'm sorry, his sister's birthday dinner at some point. But yeah, I think so. As far as support goes, you know, you've got really good zones of support for Bitcoin below where it is right now. I mean, if we kind of start this a little bit more fresh with a slightly more fresh perspective, I'm gonna clip my microphone back onto me, and if it gets worse, then please tell me so I can... Oh my god, this is so hard to do. 1 second. I'm really bad at this. I usually have other people mic me up. It shouldn't be this hard. Sorry guys, it shouldn't be this hard. It's literally just me. The thing is, my hand is sweaty, and I can't, like, push it to open it. 1 second. Do you know what? Okay, I can't do it. I'm gonna clip it on this side, which is slightly worse for audio, but hopefully you guys are fine with it. And yeah, if we take a look at this chart, I mean, you know, look, small consolidation right here, so that's where we're expecting support. There's a bit of a peak right here. This level is interesting if we zoom out, so I'll show you that in a second. And of course, there's support over here. But these are the kind of three key zones that I'm seeing. And if we go ahead and extend this one out, you can see why this one in particular is significant. They're all significant if you extend them out, right? And that's a very, very good thing. Here, take a look at this as well, right? So you got this kind of, you know, support range right here. So, yeah, oh shit, what have I done? 1 sec. So they're all kind of, you know, they're all good support levels. They're all worth kind of paying a bit of attention to. This one is obviously a little bit bigger than it needs to be. And they all line up with, you know, significant price moves that have happened before, right? Whether it's, you know, a big, you know, rejection to the downside or a big support bounce moving up. You know, these levels have historically been very, very important for Bitcoin. And naturally, that's kind of where I'd have to expect this thing to go. Like I said, when you've got, you know, a Fibonacci set up on this chart, which really shows you that it lines up with some heavy resistance, then, you know, that's something which I'm going to, you know, pay attention to. You know, I don't disrespect Fibonacci's. That's one thing I certainly don't do because they're very, very powerful, these Fibonacci's, right? And so there's clearly some, you know, resistance waiting for Bitcoin here according to these magic numbers. And, of course, with other... and I'm just going to go ahead and kind of draw a box where this particular price level is so that we kind of have a point of reference of like where to expect a challenge for Bitcoin up ahead. Let's make this one red. And then I'll go ahead and remove the Fibonacci. And if we also just take a look at the fixed range volume profile, look at that. We've also got the value area low coming in right there. So you've got, you know, a couple different kind of zones of resistance from a couple different perspectives. Starting to line up in the same place. So that red dotted line potentially offering some resistance. This red box potentially offering some resistance. You know, if we take a look at our 4-hour Ichimoku cloud, that's going to be coming down to offer some resistance. It's already there on the hourly for both of these levels. The hourly Ichimoku cloud covers both. So, you know, if Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's doing very well, right? I mean, if we look at it on the minute time frame right now, Bitcoin is recovering quite nicely right now as we speak. So we're going to continue to monitor this and watch this here on this YouTube channel. But, you know, based off this, if Bitcoin does get up there, there is a lot stacked up against Bitcoin right now. And that, I think, is problematic and worth paying attention to. We're going to be moving on to traditional finance now as well. I want to talk to you a little bit more about Upside. And then we will go to some more questions. If you do have questions, then please continue to drop them for me in the live chat. And thank you all for smashing up those likes. We are very close to the 300 mark now, so that is super, super cool. We started off slow, but I think this has picked up a little bit. So thank you, and once again, just showing how powerful your engagement can be if you choose to do it. So thank you all very, very much for that. Let's take a look at Bitcoin's upside here. If it gets above 60K, I'm going to be expecting 64 for resistance, and I think that there is already some resistance lining up over there. 67 is the next zone of resistance. 67 is also the main zone of resistance as far as I'm concerned, but I do still think that 64 could be a problem for Bitcoin. And above that, I think, again, that we're setting all-time highs. So I need to continue to watch this and see how I feel. I'll obviously continue to give you updates on it if Bitcoin does recover above those ranges. I obviously want that to happen. I want to make money. I've got my Bitcoin positions, you know, from my long-term holdings and stuff. But at the very, very same time, these kind of things, they do actually start opening up really nice opportunities, like with Bitcoin's dominance moving up. You know, which is of course a representation of Ethereum getting weaker and all the other altcoins getting weaker as well, which we will be analyzing in a moment. You know, I think that these will really, the main thing that these things do is they just present really nice opportunities to trade, which again I would be interested in doing using the platforms linked below. including the no KYC Blowfin here, which is definitely one of the better exchanges on the block with thousands of dollars in bonuses. By the way, the new offer they've launched, the one that I can't show you right now, you'll get it when you use this link. The new offer they've launched actually will give you 10% cash back on whatever you deposit, which is super, super cool. So that's extra money you can trade with. For example, if you put in $5,000, you get $500 extra that you can trade with, and you can make profits and withdraw those profits and stuff like that. So that's super, super cool. That is up to $1,000 they're going to give you for free. So again, I mean, just easy. You just get it straight away. More money to trade with. Even if you don't want to use the platform for the long run, you still get a bit of extra juice, which is very, very useful. Definitely check it out. And of course, make sure you read this notice here, this legal notice here, because these platforms are not allowed in all countries in the world. You've got to be careful about your regulations. But yeah, let's talk about traditional finance for a second. I think that this is the most pressing subject right now. From the perspective of traditional finance, you're starting to get a lot of FUD spreading around. I mean, if we look at this on the daily here, the S&P 500 had a very bad Friday close. This was one of the biggest drops that it's had in a while. And it, now from its high down to its, low that it's set here, it's down by 6.5%, which if we compare this to the last, kind of correction that the S&P 500 had, it also went down by a similar percentage amount. But on this occasion here, we probably still have a little bit more that we can drop down, right? So, 5,200 is probably 5,260 is probably where I'd see the first chance of support for the S&P 500, just based off where it was finding resistance before. Obviously, we've also got that previous all-time high all the way down over here, which still remains untested as support. You really want to come down and test these zones of support. In my experience, it really blesses the market. The market hasn't taken that blessing, unfortunately, and now if it falls down there, it would be a 15% drop to that previous all-time high, which I still would think is completely fine. I mean, I actually welcome it, and I really want it to happen, and it looks like now might be when it does happen. The reason I want this to happen is because, again, it's going to put the market in a very, very strong position, and the way I see it, the sooner the better. Let's just get it out of the way. It's probably, going to end up resulting in a much lower Bitcoin price, so we'll talk about that in just a second as well, but that's still an untested level, and 15% down is not a technical bear market for the S&P 500. I mean, everyone's changing definitions for things these days, but typically the definition of a bear market for the S&P 500 has been a 20% drop, right? So that doesn't even put us in bear market territory. It's very digestible. It's just going to feel a little bit different because everybody's used to making money right now, but that's completely fine. And like I said, this is indeed where money is made. This is indeed where people who take opportunities and seize them and do something good with them, this is where those people actually get paid. I've seen it happen a million times. I've seen it happen with myself, and I've seen it happen with other traders that I've kind of had in my groups and stuff like that. It is a damn near universal truth that people who kind of pay attention during times like this, and shout out to those of you that are watching this live doing exactly that, those people get paid during times like this in this market. So that's definitely interesting to me. There are bigger kind of theories right now about a wider recession and depression and all sorts of other big words like that. I don't know if it's going to happen, right? I mean, Berkshire Hathaway, did, if I'm not mistaken, like the biggest, bit of selling they've done in a very long time, if not ever. There's a lot that you could kind of point to if you want to start feeling scared about this market, about kind of where things could be headed. And I can't comment on them. I just don't know. It's not the kind of thing that I study very much. It's not the kind of thing that I know very well. But what I do know, what I do feel quite confident in, is my understanding that when everybody is really, really bearish and scared, that is not typically when the markets actually crash. In my experience, and this is so important, so I'm going to repeat this. In my experience, when people are, just really, really struggling to accept that the market is dropping and so on, what actually happens is that they sell their bags prematurely, and then the market rallies higher and higher. But the reality of when the market actually starts to really, really crash, that typically, in my experience, that typically happens when nobody expects the crash to come. Okay, that typically happens when everybody is seeing a drop like this, but they're just saying, oh, but this is standard procedure, there's nothing to worry about, this is going to recover just like every other dip recovered before it, because you get proven right. I mean, if you start expecting that every dip is going to be recovered and you're going to carry on kind of rallying higher, be it the bigger dips or the smaller one like these, the smaller ones like those, you're still going to see typically a lot of the time that those people, are going to build a lot of confidence in themselves, and then they're just going to be like, all right, well, this is standard procedure, there's nothing to worry about, we just wait a little bit, and then we're going to get paid, and this index or this stock or this crypto or whatever is going to go up. We don't have that right now. We don't have that senseless optimism. We actually have a lot of pessimism, and we've seen it reset pretty quickly, by the way. I want to point this out to you with the fear and greed index. I mean, take a look at this right here. We got a reading of 34 from yesterday, and in 4.5 hours it's going to update, and it's probably going to be substantially lower. And it was just last week that we were at basically extreme greed. This market has just absolutely had some insane whiplash action in terms of sentiment. I mean, take a look at this. 18th of June 74, 25th of June 30, 1st of July 53, 12th of July, in fact earlier than that, 6th of July, we're at 26, then we're at 25. Extreme fear. I mean, we're dropping down very, very hard. And then just days afterwards, 13th of July, we're at 25. 17th of July, we're at fucking 70. I mean, we literally went from extreme fear to extreme greed in about 4 days. This market, look at this. 29th of July, we peak at 74. Today, 34. I mean, it's been about 5 days. For crying out loud, and we're now just absolutely crazy polarization in terms of sentiment. So I think this is really important because it does show us that the market is resetting a little bit. It is doing what we want. What you will actually see, at real market tops, in my experience, is that nobody's going to believe it's a market top. Nobody's going to be entertaining any kind of bearish hypotheses. The party is still raging. The speakers are still too loud to even hear the screeching halt of this train. So everybody's still partying it up and enjoying themselves to the point where they can't pay attention, and then their life that they imagined, that they expected, is swept from underneath them, and reality starts to set in when they're 50% lower. I just don't think that that's what we're seeing right now. So I don't think this market is crashing. That's my opinion. That's how I feel about it. You're very, very welcome to disagree with me, but you might just have to disagree with me on the trading floor, where I get to take your money if you're wrong. So, so I'm pretty happy with that. I like to play it that way, and I think the way traditional finance relates to this is exactly the same. So that's what I'm looking at there. I'm going to be trading these markets, just based off what I see. If I think that we could be recovering, then like I said, I'm not super closed off to the idea of kind of shorting these particular price levels. But if I do see that we start kind of penetrating these zones, then I am going to be interested in becoming very bullish again and actually expecting a bit more upside. I think that would actually be very reasonable for me to expect, given how good this market looks overall, despite all of these kind of swings. The other thing I want to remind you guys about is that if we take a look at what happened in 2023, this was 7 months of sideways. It was 223 days where we traded in, a very tight price range. It was, 25, 27%, whatever you want to call it. Right, from this low from this low right here up to this high, you're already looking at like a 25% range. From this low up to the high, you're looking at about a 37% range. You're looking at broadly similar price ranges. And now in terms of time, we've been mucking about over here. We've been messing around over here for about 160 days. The last one was 220. And it was literally in the same market. It's like, this is what really shocks me, right? Is that people just can't retain perspective of this stuff. We literally did this in the same damn market cycle. It's not even like this was 6 years ago or something. It was just a year ago. We like this time last year we were in it, and yes, of course, it was absolutely horrible. It was really it was like torture to be in. But now now it's behind us, and we can actually look at it, and people still can't understand that Bitcoin could be doing the same thing right now. I don't know if it will. Like I said, I don't hold those answers, but you know, the only thing I have to go off are probabilities, and that's enough for me because I'm a trader. That's all I get to have, and I'm very happy with that. And I think that that's very important to be keeping in mind in this market here. Where did I find the Fear and Greed Index? It's just, you just type it in Google, Crypto Fear and Greed Index. You will see it. It's on alternative.me. That's the URL. But yeah, that's how I feel about these markets. I'll talk to you about altcoins as well in just a second here. But how are we feeling in the live chat right now? Do you guys do you guys feel scared about this, or are you guys feeling okay about it? I think generally a lot of you have been feeling bullish. I want to know if anybody's feeling bearish. Why are you feeling bearish? Let me know in the live chat as well. We can kind of spin a discussion off it, because, you know, I mean, look, sometimes by the way, like, I don't try and present myself as like some sort of like authority or like leading figure in this space, because first of all, the cringe as fuck in the crypto space, but second of all, because you know, I'm super willing to learn. You know, like, I'm not above anybody in terms of knowledge and stuff like that. It's happened before where somebody on this very same live chat that you're on right now has, you know, kind of offered an idea to me that I haven't considered, and then they've actually changed my mind. It's happened to me before. I don't think it'll be, you know, something which stops happening anytime soon. So I want to know kind of what you think if you disagree with, you know, part or all of what I'm saying. So please do tell me with that live chat what you're thinking. Yeah, like I said, lots of reasons I think to be expecting some resistance at this $60,000 zone, but, you know, if we're able to get above it, I think we're good. And anything that happens below it, especially if we stay below this level for long, I think it just strengthens the chances that Bitcoin ends up falling down toward that 52K zone. Everyday Finance is saying, I love it, keep the crash coming so I can keep buying. I heard a rumor that Bitcoin will crash by 50% in March. Well, I don't know if you mean March of this year or next, but I'm still thinking I'd like to be your experiment. I don't know what you mean by that, Pet Cap. I'm hoping it doesn't go lower than the last low and invalidate the gold fractal. Well, it wouldn't necessarily invalidate the gold fractal. And by the way, thanks again, Lloyd. You were one of those people I was describing right now who kind of pointed out something to me that I haven't really considered in a live chat. And then, of course, yeah, I made that spin-off video, which you were very happy about as well. I pinned your comment in that video. Lloyd mentioned to us that, you know, Bitcoin is kind of forming the same fractal setup as gold, you know, which is very, very interesting. It's basically just this nice curve here, followed by this kind of parallel channel. You know, if Bitcoin drops below, you know, its current range, I don't think it would necessarily invalidate the fractal. You know, there's a lot of tolerance for, you know, dips like this, even if it was a little bit more drawn out. There's a lot of tolerance for dips like this, in my opinion, because of just, yeah, you know, how long-term this is. I mean, on gold, this handle, the handle for the cup started to form in 2020, and we didn't actually get the breakout until late 23. So, you know, this is a very, very long-term pattern. For Bitcoin, it's obviously not that long-term, but it's still very long-term indeed. You know, and so to me, it just, yeah, I mean, you know, there's a lot of tolerance. There's a lot of tolerance for us to, you know, potentially lose this range a little bit, and I'm totally okay with that. It doesn't really change the long-term kind of things that I'm seeing on this chart. Aviral Rishi is saying that we are going to have a death cross soon. What will be the effect of that? So that's very interesting. Let's go ahead and take a look at that for a potential death cross. I'm guessing you mean on the daily. And yeah, there it is. That is definitely a death cross looming overhead for us. So let's go ahead and take a look at what this means on this chart, because that's definitely very, very important. I just need a normal Bitcoin chart. This is way more complicated than it needs to be. Let's just go ahead and use this. Hey, let's just use this. Go into, I don't know. I'm drawing mind blanks right now. Let's go for Poloniex, and if we use this Poloniex chart here, yeah, we do definitely have a death cross starting to form. Those of you that don't know, death crosses and golden crosses are, you know, quite important in these markets to a lot of people, not necessarily to me. I'll tell you what I think about them right now. but a lot of people definitely take them seriously, and it's basically just a display of momentum, right? You've got, in this case here, we've got the 50-day moving average and the 200-day moving average, and what you see is that the momentum on your short-term time frame crosses below the momentum on the long-term time frame, which is the indication that actually things could start reversing, and you could be looking at momentum continuing to go down. You know, on the flip side, you get golden crosses. You know, for example, there was one that happened over here while the price was at $23,000, $24,000. It was about 23 over here, where we got the golden cross, and then that indicates that actually, you know, there's a lot of really nice things coming afterwards. The reason I don't really like this is because you know, you form these quite regularly, and you can't really trust them very much in my experience. I mean, you know, there was a death cross right here, but if you sold Bitcoin down here, you would have been the biggest fool in the market, because that was absolutely, literally the bottom. And then, of course, we get the golden cross. But take a look at this, right? Like, when these crosses actually come. This is what's so important, right? Everybody looks at the moving averages, but they don't actually look at what price the moving average cross happens. You know, the death cross came in over here, so you're selling at 25.7. That's what you would do with a death cross. And then the golden cross comes in over here, so you're buying back at 34,000. So you've literally sold incredibly low and bought back incredibly high, literally $10,000 higher. I mean, it's ridiculous to say out loud. You know, and if you bought on this golden cross, just, you know, for a point of reference, you would have bought at about 23K. So your total upside is 10%, and you had to wait 220 days for it. You know, it just doesn't make sense. Now, obviously, from this golden cross up until now, we're going to get the death cross probably around over here, you have made a lot of money. So, you know, they are still worth paying attention to, and I think that's why a lot of people talk about them. But the first thing I need to do is just point out how inherently weak they are. But of course, I mean, you know, death crosses have happened before to the market. We had a death cross over here, and this death cross came in at about $42,000 in 2022, and then Bitcoin fell down to $16,000 afterwards. So you do have to pay attention to death crosses, at least to some extent. Again, here's one over here. Death cross comes in at about $35,000. It is literally the bottom, and then you get the golden cross at 45, which is where you buy back in. But then again, you don't sell until 42. So, you know, you can't really trade off them, but you can definitely, you know, consider them. And it's just a display of momentum changing, right? That's all it is, you know, according to what I see. Death crosses just show you that momentum is changing, the tides are shifting a little bit. It's no big deal. It's certainly nothing to be scared of or worried about or anything like that. But, you know, it is what it is. You get these death crosses, they indicate that momentum is shifted. I don't think it's anything more than that. And I certainly don't think it's anything worth scaring me out of a Bitcoin position. Some people believe in these religiously. I don't. I think that these fire way too often, and they misfire way too often, to the point where I personally can't consider it. Do I think that this is still a tool, something that, you know, you could use to at least have some kind of idea of what the market is doing? Absolutely. I mean, it's a very, very good tool to tell you what kind of general state this market is in, but I wouldn't use it for much more beyond that. We are forming the death cross now. It could be a disaster, obviously, but, you know, I think the easier thing to do is just watch easy, horizontal support resistance price levels, and based off that, you know, just kind of, yeah, trade them. You know, expect that Bitcoin, you know, if it falls below them, could be dropping significantly lower, and that's kind of it. You know, I don't really think that there's a whole lot more to it. You know, and I certainly wouldn't be using death crosses like that, you know, particularly much. So that's how I feel. Meme TV is asking, what about the halving? And that's a very interesting question, right? Because everybody and their grandmother was expecting the halving to be a big deal. David is mentioning that the halving is in 2028, so that's absolutely correct. We've basically just got to wait 4 years for the halving, and then hopefully we get the halving effect and Bitcoin can start leaving this price range. So another 4 years, and maybe Bitcoin gets above $70,000. That is absolutely brilliant. MJ is asking, why is TRX up? I haven't actually looked at TRX today. TRX performs weirdly, man. TRX kind of does its own thing. I'm still in my Tron long that you guys have known about for a very long time. I've been talking about it for a while, obviously, on this YouTube channel, and that Tron long has also paid me very, very well. If I go ahead and open this up to show you guys how that Tron position is doing. we have got right here my Tron trade. Just waiting for that to focus. This is so reflective. What are you doing? It's reflecting me back at me. Look at that. It's very, very confused. Can I put my hand here? Bam, there we go. A little bit more focus. Right there. 637% profit on that Tron trade right now, which is super cool. Obviously, just to show you, this is live on Bybit. I don't know why there's so much blur. There we go. We can see it a little bit better if I just hold my hand in front of it. Super, super cool there. So that's obviously all been done right here on Bybit, which is linked in the description below. Like I said, the best exchange in the game, really, as far as I'm concerned. Well worth checking out. And yeah, Tron is still doing well. I'm still in this position. I don't really care. I haven't been invalidated yet, so I don't have a reason to worry. And my entry was literally like here or something. It was here. It was this really, really small circle right here. This is where I entered. Just a super easy, simple support test, and the market never invalidated me since then, and it's obviously paid off for me to be in. So I'm very happy to stay in up to this point here. Back to what I was saying a little bit earlier though about the halving. The thing about the halving is, it takes a bit of time. Obviously, I was making a bit of a joke, talking about how we have to wait 4 years. But the thing about halvings is that they take time, right? I mean, you don't expect fireworks immediately afterwards, and I think that's the first mistake a lot of people made, is that they just expected it all to be one big hype train, and that's really not how this stuff works. But more importantly than that, you do typically see actually just sideways happening after the halving, or even crashes happening directly after the halving. We see a lot of that as well in these markets. So I wouldn't be too upset by these kind of things. I don't think that they're actually particularly concerning or problematic at all. Really, I think that that the halving is working exactly as it should have. In fact, if anything, I think that what we're seeing here compared to the halving is very, very good, because it's continuing to show us, to prove to us with the Bitcoin halving, that we are doing exactly what's normal after a halving, which is nothing. We're not seeing anything crazy. We're just kind of going sideways, maybe dropping down a little bit, but nothing too crazy at all. I think it's a very, very good place for the market to be. So from that particular perspective of the halving, it only makes me more confident that this market is still looking strong. Ladies and gents, I will have to get going soon, but if you have enjoyed this stream so far, do me a favor and smash those likes up. You guys have been amazing in this stream. Thank you all very, very much. I think we've recovered the channel back a little bit. We're up to 600 viewers, which is something that we've not been close to at all for a while. If you have enjoyed this one, do me a favor and smash those likes up. I still want to get to 500 likes if we can. So if you have extracted a bit of value from this, do me a favor and smash them up if you haven't done so already. Of course, definitely make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already as well, using this nice big free button down here so that you don't miss out on more time-sensitive content from me on this YouTube channel. But yeah, I want to take a couple more questions here before I head off on this live stream. So if you do have anything else you want to add in, then please let me know. Smash them up, dudes and dudettes from StuTube. Thank you very much. Shout out to StuTube, a very good friend in this crypto space. Probably living it up in Canada. What are you doing, man? How's life? How's life out there in Canada, man? I need to check out your part of Canada, dude. I'm very, very interested. No, I'm not going to answer financial advice questions, so I'm not going to read that. Lower low, lower high in July, not good. Yeah, I mean, there are lower lows and lower highs, so yeah, definitely not good from that perspective, but also very good from the perspective that we're still forming this, downward parallel channel, which I've been saying I still think is pretty good. So again, by the way, this midpoint I think is really important. I don't think I stressed this enough in this video. This midpoint, is a very big deal for these markets, in my opinion, and we're already starting to bounce off it. So I think as long as we don't lose this midpoint, I'm not actually that worried about this. I need to show this to you on the logarithmic 1 second. As long as we don't lose this midpoint, I'm not actually that worried about this market. If we do lose it, basically, I think if we get below this wick, it's game over, right? We've already punched in a low. This is actually really helpful. Bitcoin has already punched in a low, and it's already recovered quite a bit from that low now. So at this point, if Bitcoin returns to this low at 57,000 flat, basically. It's 57.1. If Bitcoin returns back to this low, then I think it's absolutely fucked. But anything above this level, I think it's in a place where it at least has a chance. If it gets back down here, I think we're going way, way lower. And I think I can say that with a lot of certainty at this point, because we've broken every key level at this point anyway. So now this is like the psychological thing that, you know, could potentially support Bitcoin. But if it doesn't, then that's it. I'm not willing to expect any other kind of bullish miracle for Bitcoin. And it's probably where I would get actually very, very bearish on it. So that's kind of how I see this playing out here. Like I said, ladies and gents, I'm probably going to be calling it from there. So if you have enjoyed this one, thank you all very much for tuning in. Ace is saying, guys, we're almost at 500 likes. Please smash the like button. Thank you very, very much. Just want to see if there's another couple last comments, and then I'll probably be heading off from here. Mitch Stu, you're still here, mate. Let's have you do another live tomorrow, maybe if things are interesting. Absolutely, absolutely. I'll be doing a live tomorrow if things are interesting. I might be traveling a little bit tomorrow, but I'll try and work it out. Apparently Solana is moving nicely. Solana is moving nicely. Look at that. Very nice big move for Solana from its low up by 8% within a matter of just minutes. Yeah, 2 hours. Just 2 hours. Very, very quick, nice big bounce there. Bitcoin, by comparison, is up by 3.7. So, yeah, definitely a nice bounce there on Solana. Thank you all very, very much for tuning in. And I am going to be heading off here because I've got some 𝐄𝐥𝐸 waiting for me. Shout out to the Persians watching this live stream. If you don't already know what 𝐄𝐸𝐸 is, and if you happen to live in a very international city, then please find your local Iranian restaurant. The country of Iran, of course, run questionably, but their food is fucking phenomenal. So check it out. I have got some 𝐄𝐸𝐸 waiting for me now, and that is probably my absolute favorite thing to eat in the world. So shout out to the Persians in the chat. Legends. Persians are really, really cool people. They're getting a very, very bad rep because of what their country is doing right now. But I think not many people know about Persians. And of course, you all have, everybody has preconceived notions about people who they don't know. Anyway, thank you all very, very much. I'll see you all in the next one. You know what to do, smash them up, all that good stuff, and I'll see you all, later. Huge bonuses. Check them out. Careful of your country's local regulations, but yeah, no KYC and thousands of dollars in bonuses on Blowfin. If you are allowed to use the platform, it is very, very well worth doing because they will also be giving you an extra 10% on your deposit up to $1,000, which is really, really cool. So you can deposit up to $10,000 and get 10% of your money back to trade with, in addition to what you put down, which is really, really cool. All right, thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.